Ladies and gentlemen, wake yo ass up. Fellas, welcome back. Hey. Hopefully I'm the first, probably not the last, to wish you a happy Easter today. Look, you might be saying, Sal, it's about time you get to actually wear these terrible looking shirts that you own, these bright pastel, whatever it might be, colored shirts that you own, just all thrown together. Looks like you made them in your closet. I wish. This thing's fucking bopping. Sal, you finally get to wear them out in public without people pointing and laughing, and instead they'll be pointing and being like, wow, that guy's got some cool Easter shirts. Yeah, what are you going to do? I'm trying to look attractive in terms of just your natural eye, right? Your subconscious eye shifting towards me and being like, oh, there's a nice colored shirt. Let's see what this guy's saying. Oh, I don't even give a shit what he's saying. This shirt looks nice. Now I got your attention for 2 seconds, and maybe something else, maybe some schmack somewhere else can catch you, pull you in. Look, I'm trying to be like social media. I'm trying to dive deep into your end of your nerve endings and keep you captured right here on this YouTube channel. Sounds pretty scary when you talk about it that way, right? All right, but hey, let me level with you. There's some other national calendar days today, but I love Easter. So you can go ahead and you can look at all those other ones like National School Librarian Day. What a brutal day to be a school librarian today. Easter Sunday. Nobody gives a shit about school to begin with. It's Easter. Nobody's going to be going to no motherfucking libraries today, although I love libraries. Like, what a terrible day to be celebrating National School Librarian Day. Pick any other day when you're applying. Was it cheaper? Was it the cheaper option? Look, you get what you pay for, librarians out there. I'm sorry. I respect you. I respect the hustle. I respect exactly what you do. I love reading motherfucking books. Books are exactly the only tool, in my opinion. There's some other ones. The main tool, I will say, that separates people, allows you to move forward in so many ways as an individual human being. Growth. But come on, do better. All right. 12 picks. Look, this is a 4-game slate. If you're looking for the 2-game slate information, I'm not covering it. I'm just not covering it. I'm going to be having it on Patreon, the projections and ranks. So if you're over there, you're going to be chilling out, relaxing. Everybody right now who's a Patreon throws your hands in the air, right? There's confetti falling out everywhere. We got the 2-game slate. We'll have MLB projections. We got everything for you covered over on Patreon. As always, right? The Discord's going to be bopping off. We're going to be having a lovely, lovely time today, but it's a holiday. So chill out, relax, Max, all cool as well. We're going to be playing some DFS. 4-game slate starts tonight at 7 p.m. I'm going to level with you right now. We got the projections already done. It's just 4 games. It's pretty easy to do these projections, easier than the bigger slates. There's not that many good plays. Like if you're talking your traditional 5X value, you like your traditional 5X, I've got like guys I can count on 2 hands. 8 guys that are going to grade out for your 5X, right? Fantasy points per dollar. But if I'm looking at like slam dunk plays today, until we get any news on some of the guys that I'm about to talk about for injuries, there's not a single slam dunk play in this 4-game slate, which I kind of like usually because you can go anywhere with the slate. And also, look, we're putting content out on the weekends. We're putting content out on the motherfucking holiday right now. I'm going to be opening some Easter baskets within the next 20 minutes. We're going to get this video done with my girlfriend. Going to be going to some brunch. Going to be doing some Chinese lanterns and all some other stuff for some of the things I got to take care of. My late great-grandmother passing away earlier this year, and I've been waiting for some lovely weather and a special occasion. Easter seems like a pretty good day to do it, to be lighting off a couple of Chinese lanterns for her. So I got a pretty packed day planned. The whole point of that basically saying is I'm looking forward to a good day, and I hope you are as well. If you got 2 seconds of your time, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I greatly appreciate it. I do not plan as of right now to be going live today. We didn't go live yesterday, took a break off. Today's a holiday. So if I end up going live later today, consider it a surprise to not just you, but me as well. So expect to see me live back tomorrow. So what we got right now is Trae Young questionable, John Wall out, Danilo Gallinari questionable, Otto Porter Jr. out, and Michael Carter-Williams and Ken Birch missed yesterday. Big shrug emoji for today. Zion and the rest of the Pelicans, right? Zion, Ingram, Lonzo, all questionable. Kira Lewis, though, Jr. is doubtful, which you already have Josh Hart out, right? He's going to be missing an extended period of time. I'm projecting in the big 3 right now because without the big 3 in there, you're missing now 5 of the top 7 bodies outside of Steven Adams and Nickeil Alexander-Walker on this team, which is pretty impactful, and this slate will then finally have the injected and inserted value that it needs. You're going to be having Draymond Green questionable. Embiid is going to be questionable. He played yesterday. I have him in today for 30 minutes. So there's your injury news. So Kevin Horter, our number 12 player of the day. This is how you know that it's a small slate and that it's, there's really no injuries. I'm projecting in Trae Young right now, right? So this is how you know. John Collins is out, sure, but that doesn't affect Kevin Horter. You have even some other guys getting even more run, Bogdanovich, right? And you have Kevin Horter in your top 12. I mean, it's basically, this is where we're at right now. Like Kevin Horter doesn't even project out that great for me. If I show you it right now, Kevin Horter is currently projecting out for me for 24.79 fantasy points, a 4.96 value rating. Now on most slates, this is barely getting into my player pool. On this slate, it ends up being a top 12 play because it's only 8 teams playing. I mean, there's a couple things from Kevin Horter. He's reliable, right? So you can see right here, he plays the second most minutes. If you pull up Add More Funds, only behind Trae Young. Obviously, if Trae Young rules out, Kevin Horter shoots up, Bogdanovich shoots up, everybody shoots up. Clint Capella, the entire team. It's one of the higher producers on the team, a 33% usage rate player in Trae Young. If he was to miss, yes, everybody gets a nice shot upwards. Kevin Horter's averaging around 0.8 fantasy points per minute on the season, so nothing great here, but the bigger thing is the minutes. That's why he's second on this list. He plays the second most minutes on the team this year. Today, Today, I can expect and project Kevin Horter somewhat confidently for around 30 minutes of play. I gave him 32 today, and also he fills the shooting guard spot. He's a shooting guard eligible only player, and these shooting guard and small forward spots suck on most slates. They're going to suck even more on a smaller slate where there's not much value to begin with. The number 11 play of the day is going to be Chuma Okeke. I've been saying his name all season long. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. At $5,700, Chuma right now on an Orlando team that I'm projecting out today, Michael Carter-Williams and Ken Burch. And Chuma, similar things can be said for him. Big minutes right now. Look, I'm giving Chuma 36 minutes today. Now, he hasn't been playing that high of minutes lately, but he has been hitting 37. He has been hitting 34, 33, 30. He's been playing 28 or more minutes in each of the last 5 games. I'm giving him 36 today because I'm now projecting out guys like Ken Burch, and you got to see Chuma play 33 minutes without Ken Burch the last time out being yesterday. You have now had 30 fantasy points or more in 3 straight games here. Now you've had at least 28 and a half or more fantasy points in 5 straight games. So Chuma's actually a pretty quality player when he gets these minutes, right? And when there's nobody else on the court. You get him to start to average around a fantasy point per minute. That's why he becomes our number 11 play on the day. Our number 10 overall play is James Ennis. So more guys from Orlando here. The 1.85x multiplier in SuperDraft is even more appealing. So James Ennis, you're getting somewhat of a price discount here on James Ennis at $5,200. I just want to pull up popcorn machine from yesterday's game. I mean, this Orlando team was just brutal. Like, we could have gotten so many more points out of Jordan Clarkson. We got a lot of points out of Jordan Clarkson. We could have got even more. I mean, this Orlando team lost by fucking 40 points yesterday. Jesus Christ, right? Shout out Easter. But you can see what happens here. Terrence Ross is still coming off the bench. They only had 8 bodies yesterday, so their 8 bodies only having that. I'm projecting them yet again today to only have 8 bodies. We'll end up seeing what happens there exactly. But you had Chuma starting in that game. You had James Ennis starting in that game. James Ennis goes on to play some pretty massive minutes. James Ennis, Chuma, all these guys, all the starters, everybody in the lineup, even guys off the bench playing 30 plus, right? Terrence Ross and some other players play their big minutes because even in a blowout, they have to play minutes. 5 guys got to be on the court, and you only got 8 bodies out there, and 3 of the guys that they have on this roster right now are basically centers, right? You got guys like Chuma out there, you got Mo Bamba out there, and you have also Wendell Carter out there. So they just got to put guys on the court. So you get 36 minutes out of James Ennis. Even though he's not a great player, we're getting the big minutes here. We got 36 minutes out of Chuma, as you can see right here. They are blowout proof is what I'm trying to say. Now, if Michael Carter-Williams and Ken Burch come back, it's not as blowout proof because now you have at least a full 10-man rotation. I'm projecting James Ennis today for big minutes. I'm projecting James Ennis for a decent fantasy point per minute production. I'm giving James Ennis, as it stands right now, 0.86 fantasy points per minute at 32 minutes of play. We obviously know he can play more than those 32, and when I give him that, he projects out for around 25.8 fantasy points. So if you think he plays 34, 35 minutes today, then he's going to be inside our top 10 instead of being right at number 10. I don't know if number 10 is inside the top 10. I don't know. I went to school so long ago. I actually dread the days that whenever I have children, if I have children, I hope to have children in the future, right? I'm an older Sal. I'm a 30-year-old wise Sal, financially fully secure. Hopefully don't have to work another day in my life by the time I'm 30 if I've done everything correctly. Feeling all good, right? Feeling very nice about the way that I am, working on my health, working on my relationships and all that type of stuff. And then my kid asks me a math question from like algebra back when I was in like 3rd grade learning it, and I have no idea what he's talking about, or she. I have no idea what's going on there. And that's some of the stuff that I dread. I dread my kid looking up at me and saying, "Dad, this is how you do it." And I'm just like, well, fuck. I have no idea how math works. But I do know that after 10, if we're going in a ranking order, comes number 9. So take that, future Sal, Salina. The number 9 play on the slate is Draymond Green, who is questionable today, so I'm obviously projecting him in at $6,500. But big old booty before we get there. The sponsor of the program on Easter Sunday. Oh, so gracious to have a sponsor on Easter Sunday. Thank you. Prize Picks, the sponsor of the program today. Thank you, Prize Picks, for sponsoring on this lovely, lovely holiday that we call Easter, the casual but fun holiday. Prize Picks is an over-under on player props, on fantasy points, on point scoring. You could do it for the March Madness crazy game last night, right? You could do it for baseball today. We'll have projections for baseball, NBA, a bunch of stuff, right? You can play and you can follow along, and I urge you to use the link in the description below. You click the link, you use the code SAL when you sign up. They'll say, "Oh, you know Sal? Hey, you know Sal? All right." Anytime you put money in, we'll give you on your first deposit up to $100. We'll match you. So $50, hey, you got $50 right back. $100, you might as well put the full 100 if you have the means to do it, because you're probably going to end up depositing another time. If you end up hitting 0, you go busto because somebody gets hurt eventually in the NBA, right? Or you might be saying, "Screw you, Sal, I'm going to put 20 in and build that thing up to a couple $1,000s." Well, hey. Teach their own at this point. These are the afternoon games. There will be a lot more props later on today, like in an hour or two. I'm just up really early, so there'll be a lot more props out. But to give you a lean, and maybe you're watching this after these afternoon games, well, then just go in there and just get your other props based on my projections and any questions you have in the YouTube comments. Any questions you have, you can reach out to me. I'll help you out with some prize picks. But as it stands right now, I'm taking the over on Zach Levine, who I have projected closer to 37 fantasy points in a great matchup against Brooklyn today, right? Still going to be a fast-paced environment. I know Vooch is there, but over 34 as an over-under, especially for a guy in Zach Levine who isn't active and a better defender now. When you're talking blocks and steals, giving you bonus points on prize picks, the over there. And then I'm going to be taking the under on Kawhi Leonard. It seems like they're projecting to be out Paul George today. I'm projecting Paul George to currently play. The injury report doesn't make it seem like he's definitely not going to play today. So I have Kawhi Leonard closer to like 43 fantasy points and change, 44, 45, somewhere in there. So the under on 49 feels really good to me right now. Now, obviously, Kawhi Leonard, a good steals player, so that can get you some bonus points on Prize Picks, but I still feel comfortable out of these early 8 options to be going to the under on Kawhi Leonard, the over on Zach Levine. Book it if you're watching this right now before these games start. If not, again, come over to Prize Picks and there's going to be a shit ton more options to choose from. Again, using that code SAL, you click the link in the description. Use the code SAL, S-A-L, and then they'll match you on your first deposit up to $100, 100 schmacks. There's your little Easter Sunday gift for you. There's your little Passover. Hey, we're giving you some pasta. Hey, we're giving you some nice little brunch. There's your little brunch money for you today. Go ahead, gamble it. Hopefully not away, but gamble that shit up for some more dollar bills, y'all. So there you have it. Draymond, you're going to be having him questionable. Steph's off the injury report. Eric Paschal is out. That's basically the full injury report here. The thing with Draymond is he's not that appealing, right? He's $6,500. I'd rather play him at $5,700 on this slate for me to be really interested. But he's playing Atlanta with no John Collins today. They have a 113 team implied total today. So when you're looking at a 113 team implied total, that's actually going to be grading out as borderline the third highest, tied for the third highest on the slate today. If you're just looking at these later games, that is the second highest, only behind Denver's 115 team implied total. Draymond Green, he's going to average a fantasy point per minute for me today. I have him projecting out currently for right around 32 minutes of play. He can obviously get more than that, but at a fantasy point per minute, 32 minutes of play with this high assist percentage, people might be saying, oh, you want Steph Curry out for Draymond Green to have a good game. I mean, in some regards, maybe, but it's not like Draymond Green takes a lot of shots. He has a high assist percentage this year. He has a decent rebounding rate. So when a guy has a 25% assist percentage or so, and you have Steph Curry out there, his assists to actually convert to real assists, his assist chances to real assists are better with Steph Curry out there than with Jordan Poole shooting and bricking every single time. You can see how crazy his assist percentage is. This is on the season. He's played the 4th most minutes on the team. He ranks 4th. His assist percentage is 34.6%. I mean, that ranks borderline top 10 in the NBA for Draymond Green. You might not actually be thinking that, but yes, you want Steph Curry on the court because Draymond Green's biggest upside is his ability, yes, to get a triple-double, but his ability to have, even in a bad game where he normally shoots 5 times and gets you like 6 real-life points, his ability to pick you up 12 assists and take you to that next level in points, having 18 fantasy points just off of assists for you, that's where he comes through. I'd rather have Steph out there contributing to those assists by making his layups, his shots, his obviously his threes, than some other jabroni. The number 8 play in the slate is Kevin Porter Jr. today. John Wall's out. Kevin Porter Jr. I'm projecting for 1.1 fantasy points per minute on the year right now. He looks fantastic with John Wall off the court. Obviously, Oladipo has now been traded. So if I project him for 1.1 fantasy points per minute, which might be low, if I give him around 33, 34 minutes in this game, now he's priced up, right? He's not dirt cheap. He's $6,900. So if you ended up getting Kevin Porter Jr. today at his cheaper price points, clearly would look a lot better here. Duh, that's how this works. But now that he's priced up, I can't just be projecting him as like the best play on the slate. I'm projecting him for around 35 fantasy points early on as it stands right now with a 108.5 team implied total. This does get better for Kevin Porter if all of New Orleans is out. He'll project out a little bit better and probably make it inside our top 6. And speaking of that, as we get closer to the number 7 play in the day, look, it's the only way he ever makes this slate is on a 4-game slate. Clint Capella is our baby. Anytime he's under 8K, we like him. Anytime they dare to put him under $7,700, we slam that get into our lineups, insert into our lineups. We slam that motherfucking button on the center utility spot for Clint Capella. Nice team total of a 111 team total today. No John Collins. Rebounding rate goes up even higher for Clint Capella. And he faces Golden State where James Wiseman is his only threat. This is a good spot for Clint Capella. The problem is he's priced up. And he still makes it into our top 10. That just shows you how weak this slate is. At $8,800 today, Capella gives you the nice balance and the nice difference of getting the pure points upside without having to break the bank for a quote-unquote stud. Capella right now ranks out as my 5th highest projected player on the slate, and if Zion was to not play today, he'd rank out as my 4th highest. He's basically tied with Zion. So he's like tied for my 4th highest projected player in the slate, and he's actually below $9,000. So you're getting somewhat of a discount here compared to like Ben Simmons, compared to like Christian Wood and Trae Young. I actually would take Clint Capella. I have right now Clint Capella projected for more points than his teammate Trae Young. It's by literally a half a point, but he's $700 less. So there's a nice balance here in the context of this 4-game slate of Clint Capella projecting out for over 44 fantasy points for me. He is, as it stands right now, I talked about the guys that I have 5x value or higher. He is one of those 8 players that I have as 5x value or higher. But if we're talking about all the guys in that top 8, there's probably only 1, maybe 2 other guys, Kevin Porter, and we'll talk about another guy in a couple of plays here, that have a similar ceiling into the 50s and 60s. 60s we saw a couple games back of what Clint Capella can do. Now we get to the number 6 play in the slate. It's Steven Adams. And look, Steven Adams seems to be right now, off the injury report, he seems to be like the only Pelican that actually, if we're talking about the starters, has a legitimate shot at playing today. Like he's probable and not questionable. So Steven Adams, you're getting the big minutes lately. Oh, but Jackson Hayes is going to start to play more. Yeah, okay, 41-30, obviously 41 in overtime, 41-30, 30, and 36 minutes over his past 4 games. Steven Adams is now secure for minutes. But what is the problem? He's not getting a lot of shot attempts. He's not even coming through with the rebounds. This is a big issue for you, right? He's had 8, 2, 2, and 7. This man shot 4 times He made all 4 of them, great, but he shot 4 times in 60 minutes of play on March 29th and March 27th. The rebounds right now are also brutal. 1 10-rebound game in the last 5 games, and I just told you how many minutes he's playing during that time. Rarely picks up assists. You're hoping he could pick you up a couple of blocks in a game. So Steven Adams, even when he plays these massive minutes, 36, 30, 30, 41 over the last couple of games, he's struggling, has not broke 25 fantasy points in one of them. So now, Sal, why are we playing him at $5,300, especially when you're projecting in all these other guys? Well, that's just the context of this motherfucking slate. I got him projected for 26.8 fantasy points today. I've got Adams for 30 minutes of play today, and I end up putting at Jackson Hayes for 18, so I'm not really interested in Jackson Hayes all that much. So Adams, I mean, I'm just not expecting him to slump this bad. I'm just not expecting Steven Adams as a center playing 30 minutes in a pretty decent offense with a 113.5 team implied total to only be going out there and shooting fucking 2 times in the game. If he can get his shot attempts up to 6 or 8, if he can get his ability to get to the free throw line to be higher than 2, right? This is a weird last week for him. I like it, especially when you consider the matchup against what you're getting from Christian Wood. I don't love it by any means, right? He's our number 6 play in a weak slate, but he's going to be at least appealing right now based on the fact that he's not $7,000 and actually getting big minutes. Inside the top 6, we go to our top 5 top speed DJ spin that Easter beat top 5 top. That was pretty good, right? You got people out there right now on the other side of the screen right now. They just took their shirts off. They're swinging it around. They're screaming party. They're jumping on tables. Hey, relax. I know it's Sunday. It's Easter Sunday, right? Whatever you believe. So you might be jumping up and down just for that alone. But we had National Party Day yesterday. Some of us are trying to recover today, right? We got to get our bones ready for what we're about to encounter. A big old brunch pretty soon today. I want to let you know as we get into the number 5 play, Nicole Jokic. Hey, take 2 seconds of your time. Click the link in the description. Go over to Patreon. See what you see over there and be like, yes, I want to be a part of this community. I'm trying to build something very special. We have over 500 people, right around 500 people on Patreon right now. We got over around 400 people in the Discord where it's a community chat where you can talk about anything. There's different channels, prize picks, MLB, NBA, NFL, all the way up to whatever you want to be talking about. It's not just a Discord though. That's just an added perk. We got projections, ranks, top plays. I mean, I have right now the NBA done today. We'll get MLB up pretty shortly. Then we have PGA for the Masters, going to be massive next week. So player pools, DraftKings projections, SuperDraft projections, bunch of other stuff. The lineup optimizer is probably the biggest tool that you're getting in there for an industry low price. So if you have been considering joining and you have a little extra cash, maybe you want a little bit of extra cash from the free YouTube advice here, consider joining, right? If you don't have the means or anything like that, I don't want to pressure anybody out there. If you are financially stable to be joining or considering it and things along those lines, come support your favorite online local business right here, Sal Vetri Media. Check it out, link down below over on Patreon. I appreciate you considering, and I want to welcome people to the community. Welcome home, welcome to the family. Hopefully once this COVID thing's over, we'll set up some in-person events and we won't just be in the Discord and on there. We can actually come in person, sweat some things out, do some fantasy drafts for football, all that type of stuff, drink some brewskis, hang out, relax. Max all cool. The number 5 play on the slate, Nicole Jokic. This is just the end of the day. Like, Jokic has been struggling as of late. Obviously, they now have a pretty loaded team there where they're giving bigger minutes now to Michael Porter Jr. You have Jamal Murray coming into his zone now, an $8,000 player. You obviously have Will Barton playing as good as he has on the season, and then they add Aaron Gordon. So you're getting Jokic to struggle as of late, right? Back-to-back games, Jokic not cracking 40 points, even though he played 36 and 35 minutes. Why is this happening? Well, shot volume for one is going down as other guys around him play better. Makes sense, right? As other good players around him, as they have now solidified a starting 5 of Barton, Gordon, Jokic, Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. That is a very good starting 5. That addition of Aaron Gordon cannot go understated. In fantasy, it might not be working out because they're all cutting into each other, and he's kind of the odd man left out right now. But in real life, it's going to help out a ton. So it is concerning to see this. Like, Jokic's shot volume is coming down in a major way, which kind of fuels everything else that he's doing. Right now, you're getting Jokic over his past 5 games only once to go over 50 fantasy points. He had 65, and in that game, they played 41 minutes. I believe it went to overtime, and he shot 30 motherfucking times. He didn't even pick up 10 rebounds or 10 assists in that game, so that's concerning. Over these last 5 games, just 3 times has he had 10 or more rebounds, 10 on the nose, and no times over 10 assists. He's just playing with a better team now. And it's also a matter of just a smaller odd sample, but 16, 14, 12 shot attempts over his last 3 games. It's not great. We cannot continue to project out Nicole Jokic for 1.65 fantasy points a minute. I have him into the 1.5 range, but we have to keep in mind that on a 4-game slate, we want pure points upside. Joel Embiid is questionable today. I'm projecting Joel Embiid in. I'm projecting him for closer to 48 fantasy points. I have Nicole Jokic still projecting out for 54 fantasy points today. Look, if you want to just say Nicole Jokic is now a bummy player and he's only going to be an average center, he's going to be like Nikola Vucevic on the Bulls and score 43 fantasy points a game, that's your bold take. Maybe it'll work out over the next couple weeks. I'm not quite there yet. So Nicole Jokic is my highest projected player right now by 6 fantasy points. That has to count for something. He also projects out point per dollar wise as right now my number 5 or my number 6 overall play, but factoring in the upside, I'll be making my number 5 overall play just because of that pure points upside. We have decent value. We've gone through a couple of 5K options, right? 4 or 5K options already on the slate. And we're about to get into some more value options. Spoiler alert, as we get to the number 4 play on the slate, Sterling Brown. No John Wall today, right? Victor Oladipo no longer on this team. Look, Sterling Brown is not the sexiest of plays. I have him projected for 30 minutes today, and I went back and looked like, okay, has this guy ever gotten you there? And he has. He consistently gets you like 22 to 26, maybe 28 fantasy points in games where he actually gets to start and play bigger minutes today. Look, we take off Harden, Oladipo, Wall, who are not going to be out there, not even on this team, some of them anymore, and he plays the most minutes, Sterling Brown, on this team, as you can see at the top of the screen. And none of his stats are that great, right? Because he's still going to be playing with Kevin Porter, and he's still going to be playing with Christian Wood and other guys who soak up usage. You can see Ben McLemore on the screen. He's obviously been released. It's not that major of a thing. He only averages 0.75 fantasy points per minute, Sterling Brown, but the big thing is like 13% usage rate, not great, 11% assist percentage. He's not doing much out there. He's like considering small amounts in each of these little categories, but he gets the minutes and he's still cheap. So it kind of boils down to, on this slate, him being close to the 3K range at 4,300. Not many guys going to play 30 plus minutes at $4,300. Not many guys at $4,300 going to be able to fill, like he will, some of these weaker spots that he can at shooting guard and small forward. The number 3 play on the slate is Chason Randall, and this is if I project out Michael Carter-Williams. I give Randall 34 minutes of play today. We were just talking about Orlando. I was going to say yesterday because I took a little bit of a break, but you can see right here, we have Chason Randall starting this game, plays big minutes in the first half. Chason Randall in the game plays 32.3 minutes in that game. He probably lost a little bit of time in the first half. Not a good basketball player, but I have him at 34 minutes of play today. I have him starting yet again today. Chason Randall literally averages on the season 0.6 fantasy points a minute. Today, because of what's happening, I have him projected a little bit higher than that at $4,700. I have him projecting out for more minutes than Sterling Brown, taking on a little bit more usage than Sterling Brown today. And because of that, hopefully we get an 8-man rotation again, so it locks in these 30 plus minutes for him. Chason Randall, unlike Sterling Brown, is not going to get you the shooting guard eligibility, so there's a little bit of a drop down. Maybe you like Sterling Brown more for the price savings. We'll see what happens with the starting lineups and seeing if Sterling Brown is in them. The number 2 play in the day is Daniel House. So we stay in Houston, we stay in the 4K range. You can see now it's just pretty easy to get up to Embiid if he plays and you think the minutes are there. It's pretty easy to get up to Nicole Jokic, right? So you might be saying, Sal, there's not a lot of strong players on this. I would argue and say that there is. Kevin Porter Jr., Capella, Jokic, right? But I get it. There's a lot of scrubs because that's what you're going to get. So if you're looking at and saying, okay, the top 12 plays so far, not featuring a lot of studs, if you will, right off of the top 12, you have guys like literally number 13, Christian Wood, 14, Steph Curry, 15, Wendell Carter, 16, Zion, 17, Terrence Ross. That's the extendo crank, if you will. So that's where some more names start to come and play. Just to get to those guys, you have to be able to get some of these guys in there, right? The values. And you can see that entire list on Patreon down below. So Daniel House at $4,600. Look, I'm expecting decent minutes out of Daniel House. I'm actually expecting Daniel House to be, like, if you told me right now there's not a single lock on this slate, but if you wanted to say who's like a guy you feel really secure about, if Daniel House starts, I give him 30 minutes of play. He's a quality 0.8 fantasy point producer plus, right? Especially with all these guys off the court. He would be one of those guys, and it sounds pretty weird, but $4,600 for a guy who is a higher producer than Chason Randall and Sterling Brown, significantly higher of a producer than those guys who are usually in the 0.7 fantasy point per minute range. Daniel House has a nice ceiling to him at $4,600 as well. He would be, out of all these guys that we've talked about, like not counting Nicole Jokic, of course, just being the cop-out answer, he would be the guy that I say, yeah, that's a guy who I feel very secure about playing as of right now, before we have news on New Orleans and Joel Embiid and some of these other big pieces of news that we're waiting on. So Daniel House at 30 minutes of play, he projects out for me today as a 23.98 fantasy points per minute, the number 2 overall play. And to finish it up on our number 1 overall play, the reason why this guy is not a lock is just minutes. Mo Bamba. So, look, if they have an 8-man rotation, if Kem Birch is in, you don't throw Mo Bamba out the window, but Kem Birch then takes up 18 to 22 minutes, and Mo Bamba playing 20 to 24 minutes becomes a little bit less secure. This is assuming that Wendell Carter starts yet again. So you can see right here on Popcorn Machine, Mo Bamba only plays 11 minutes in the first half. The game blows out in a major way. He gets hurt a little bit. So those are 2 things when they're trying to ramp up Mo Bamba to be a quality player and see what they have in him. Those are 2 things that's not going to happen. You get a little bit of a tweak from Mo Bamba. It wasn't foul trouble or anything like that. He did have 2 personal fouls, but he doesn't play in the second half at all because the game's a complete blowout, and he just got a little bit of a tweak in there. So assuming that he can get just 20 to 22 minutes, I have Mo Bamba at 20 minutes of play today and 28 minutes for Wendell Carter, splitting the center minutes there. Mo Bamba, who's going to project for closer to a 1.25 fantasy point per minute producer, does grade out as our number 1 overall play because he grades out for 24.5 fantasy points at just $4,600. Yet again, another 4K options. That's 4 4K options in a row, so there's enough value here. The problem is he's nowhere near a secure play. Is he a yes for me today? Yeah, because we don't have many options right now. In this player pool on a 4-game slate that you can see on Patreon, for DraftKings, my player pool is 35 players, and I only have, as it stands right now, 8 players as yeses. That is very small. Mo Bamba is indeed one of them. That being said, a guy coming off the bench with I have him at 21 minutes, actually, I said 20 earlier, a 21-minute projection, a guy coming off the bench and has to rely on his high production in a tougher matchup against Denver and Nicole Jokic, yes, that is nowhere near secure. That is the nature of this slate, when the number 1 play isn't even a slam dunk play. So, it's a weird slate. 4-game slate. Any news that comes out for all the injury news that we touched on earlier, and you can see it right now. I'll scroll down to the screen. Any news that comes out on Trae Young, any news that comes out on all these guys from New Orleans, and also what can happen with Draymond and Joel Embiid will open up significant value more so than usual because this slate lacks a lot of it. So thank you for tuning in today. Enjoy the rest of your Easter Sunday. Be sure to support the sponsor of the program today, and that is going to be Prize Picks. We like the over right now, depending on when you're going to be viewing this, on Zach Levine. We like the under in a major way in Kawhi Leonard for those earlier projections. If you're looking for information on the 2-game slate right now and you're tuning into this, check it out. Link down below on Patreon. We'll have the full projections, ranks, optimizer, all that stuff will be available for the 2-game slate on Patreon. So I appreciate you tuning in. Use that code SAL when you sign up to take this wager or any others on Prize Picks. That code SAL, S-A-L, and the link in the description below. They'll match you up to $100 on your first deposit. So be sure to check it out. You put 20, 50, 100 in, bang, you get that money right back, and now you have double the amount to be playing with and winning some dollar bills, y'all. Enjoy your Easter Sunday. Enjoy your National Librarians Day today on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday. Hope you all have a lovely time with family, friends. And if not, if neither of those, if you can't be together with them, if you don't have any around you right now at this specific point, just enjoy the day with yourself out there. Make the best of it. You all rock, and I'll see you all in the next one. Lots of content coming out. Masters content potentially dropping later today. And then more live streams, more NBA, more Masters talk as the week goes on. See you all. Stay safe out there and enjoy your day.